Hitchhiking Ghost. 6 months ago, something puzzling happened at the convenience store downstairs from my house. The owner, a middle-aged man whom I always considered reliable and steady, suddenly decided to sell his car. He had bought the car less than 6 months ago, and I had never heard him complain about any issues with it before. The store owner's wife, who was straightforward, confided in me privately about her dissatisfaction. She said her husband seemed to be acting like he was possessed, insisting on changing the car. She suspected he might have incurred debts behind her back and wanted to solve the problem by getting a new car. As I listened to her, my mind filled with doubts too. Out of curiosity, I decided to seize an opportunity to ask the owner himself for confirmation. One evening, while I was buying something, I cautiously broached the topic. At first, the owner seemed somewhat embarrassed and reluctant to discuss it further. But after my persistent questioning, he finally relented and recounted the night that had changed his decision. That night, the owner was driving home on the highway. When he passed through a secluded stretch of road, he saw a woman in her 50s standing by the roadside, frantically waving for a lift. Despite the late hour, the owner was moved by the urgency on the woman's face and stopped to let her in. She told him she needed to go to the hospital to pick something up, but had missed the last bus. During the ride, she hardly spoke, only occasionally responding to the owner's questions with simple yes or no. Upon reaching the hospital, the woman thanked the owner and then walked into the hospital alone. The incident should have ended there, but a few days later, when the owner was chatting with a nurse friend at the hospital, he mentioned the late-night act of kindness. His friend's expression changed drastically upon hearing this. She told him that indeed, on that night, a 55-year-old cancer patient had passed away at the hospital, and her clothing and appearance closely matched the description of the woman the owner had picked up. This news sent shivers down the owner's spine, as he began to doubt who exactly he had given a ride to that night. Since then, he felt his car was no longer safe, and it even started to affect the business of the convenience store. He decided to get rid of the car, hoping to shake off this unusual experience. Upon hearing the owner's explanation, his wife, though shocked, understood his decision. She began to believe that there are indeed some things in this world that science cannot explain. As for me, as a listener, I was deeply moved. This incident caused quite a stir in the neighborhood, with residents discussing it. Some said the owner had encountered a benevolent spirit and had been blessed because ever since that incident, the business at the convenience store had indeed been thriving. While I didn't fully believe in such supernatural occurrences, I couldn't deny that sometimes there are coincidences in life that we cannot explain. Perhaps it truly was the woman finding a way to repay the owner's kindness. This story taught me that no matter what, keeping a kind heart can never be wrong.